Okay, so here's my current understanding on dependency, attachment trauma, and patriarchy. Triple goddess. So, we're trained for these romantic sexual partnerships that are our deepest attachments, where we look for our soulmate or even mates. And we expect, in many ways, to be emotionally dependent on this person and to become financially dependent in certain ways, to have our lives enmeshed, our finances tied up together, our survival. We expect to have our childlike attachment needs, to be able to turn to each other in our insecurities and in our deep tears and in our traumas, and to find space for our feelings and needs. As if I was a child, but in an adult relationship. And that is an expectation of patriarchy. That is not in our DNA as humans. I don't believe it's written in our code. I believe it's cultural, and I believe it is a fantastic story. And they lived happily ever after. Whoa! The myth of eternity. We are up against that so hard right now. The myth of eternity, religious fanaticism, unsustainability, the fantasy, the romance, the idea that you can force love to go on forever under a condition of dependency, any kind. We are interdependent. Okay, so maybe not quite any kind. We are interdependent. We are really, in truth, in a circle. And really, in truth, we live on a globe. But the ground I walk on feels flat. So what about our attachment systems? What about our attachment systems? We want so badly to attach. We need to. We are social creatures. We do need to belong with each other. And the stories are so strong, and the traumas from our parents are so real, and that come through our parents and through us, the traumas, the intergenerational traumas that need intergenerational healing. And that's not all that comes through me, right? Also the love, the intergenerational wisdom, my ancestors. And in matriarchy, where it's power sharing in a circle of trust that everyone's needs will get met in a gift economy of reciprocity, because the matriarch is skilled and wise in managing the resources to meet the needs of all of the people in her care. And the leader is the person who everyone looks to and trusts to understand their needs and trusts to be able to take care of everyone in the situation. And that's what mothers biologically do. So in matriarchal cultures, there is connection to and continued connection to your ancestors, the matriarchs, who become part of the land and the water that grows the food that you eat. When your mother dies and you bury her in the ground, by that tree that she loved to sit under, on the territory over there, on the land. And that ash fertilizes all of the life there. She is there. She is there with you, and you eat the fish and you eat the berries, right? You breathe the air, and we are all connected, and our ancestors are here with us, in our DNA, through us, through everything that we eat and breathe. And in these cultural systems, the stories, I don't know, it's a lot of them. They're not my cultural stories. I'm very much have been in the spell, the black magic of this romance story, of romantic sexual partnerships to meet deep attachment needs. But those deep attachment needs are actually met in our ancestors through our relationship with ourselves, right? My relationship with my ancestors is my memory of who they are, my memory of my grandma, my memory of my uncle, my memory of the stories of other people who have passed. And my ability to understand what they saw about me and how they saw me, and I see myself in certain ways because of them. And to honor all the wise parts of my ancestors that live in me, and to turn to myself and to the wisdom that I carry when I need my attachment needs met. And if I'm in relationships with other people, then when I get triggered into my traumas, I can communicate that to other people and ask for care, but not as a child demanding in an emergency from another adult who's supposed to prioritize me as if I was a child in this way. But as an adult who has practices, and we find in our culture many of these practices through therapy and counseling, who has practices to connect with my ancestral wisdom, to connect with my ancestors, to connect with myself and these parts of myself, and to cry and to talk to myself, because that's how I process. I need to talk. And I think a lot of other cultural practices engage in speaking aloud cultural practices, rituals to ancestors that might even be embodied in different natural forms, such as a tree. And to me, in some ways, the apple tree embodies my ancestors. Love apples. And I like that. And there's a lot of symbolism there. And I like that. And so we can find this matriarchal wisdom. We can find this centering, this grounding. And turn away from the patriarchal story of dependence on a romantic sexual partnership to meet our attachment needs, and instead look to our ancestors and look to our ancestral wisdom and look to the wisdom that we carry deep in our bones and out of our abundance. Share with others what we're feeling and what this experience of being alive is like. Kind of like nothing else. And I have to make space for it. And I have to make space for myself and make time for myself. And many of you are already living this. Many of us are living this, and we are just practicing it every day as much as we can. And the more that we practice and talk about it, the more matriarchal our world will become, our lives, and from there. That's my belief. That's my hope.